This is the place where we stopped in our previous video. Now let's continue from this point onwards. In the next lesson you will learn about class constructors. So next let's go to the next link. Here we discuss class constructors in C#.NET. Quite often you will want to set some default values for the variables you set up in your class. This is where the class constructor comes in handy. Okay, so if you want to set your own default values for the variables, okay, then we need constructors. Suppose we want to add a new property to our class, the number of presents a person receives on their birthday. We can set up a new variable in our birthday class. Okay, this is the project we were working in our previous videos. Okay, so now private int number of presents. This integer variable, a field, this is a field. Now in C# we call this a field. This integer variable has no value at the moment. We can use a constructor to set one. Now a constructor is used to set up values for your variables. When your object is created, C# looks for this constructor and tries to set those values. If you don't add one yourself, C# automatically adds one for you, even if you have no variables to set. Okay, so now the constructor takes the same name as your class. For us, the default constructor will be called happy birthday and would look like this. Okay, so this one, actually this one is called the default constructor. If the user does not specify, if the user does not include a constructor, a user defined constructor to the class, then the compiler will automatically create a constructor, but it is invisible in our class, but we can use it. It is something like this. That's what we have used here. Okay, that's what we have invoked here. Actually, if you look at our happybirthday.cs class, here we have not included a constructor. Okay, a constructor called happy birthday we have not included, but here we could invoke such a constructor. The reason is, if the user has not included the constructor, then in that case the compiler will include a constructor. That constructor is called default constructor. Okay, it is something like this, and meaning of this one is, once you create objects from our class using the default constructor, then the attributes, the fields of that object will contain their default values. Okay, that is the meaning. That is the meaning. Note that note that constructor is public, but that it has no return type like int, string, float, etc. That's because constructors don't return values. They just get on with setting up values for your variables. Now if you look at a constructor, it is somewhat similar to a method. You can see this parenthesis. Okay, but you do not see a return type like void, int, float. Likewise, this does not have a return type, and also this is not going to return anything. The reason is the constructor is used to set values for the fields. Only setting is done using the constructor. Therefore we do not need the return type, and also a constructor will not return anything. And the other thing is the name of the constructor is exactly same as the class name. Happy birthday is the name of our class. Okay, and this one, actually this is the form of the default constructor. Default constructor will be created by the compiler in the absence of user defined constructors. If a user is going to include his or her own constructor, then the compiler is not going to create the default constructor. Okay, in Java also the same thing. You can watch the videos I had sent you about object oriented programming in Java. Okay, those videos actually in detail I have discussed object oriented programming in Java. Once you have mastered those concepts, then you can convert your knowledge to C#. Okay, in this course we do not have enough time to discuss object oriented programming from the scratch. Okay, so we this is just a transformation from Java to C#. Okay, note that constructor is public, but that it has no return type. A constructor does not have a return type, and okay, the default constructor has nothing between the round brackets after its name. Okay, you do not see anything within the round brackets. That meaning of that one is, once you create an object using the default constructor, the fields of the object will contain the default values. Okay, default values means for that means once you declare a variable int x, okay, then x the value of x takes 0 usually in C#. If you declare an integer variable without initializing it, then the value is by default 0. Okay, that is these values are called default values. Okay, so now a default constructor has nothing between the round brackets after its name. If you set up your own default constructor rather than letting C# do it for you, then leave the round brackets empty. You can also do something called constructor overloading, but that's outside the scope of this book. But this is where you pass values over to your constructor. Now if you learn object oriented programming in Java, I think I have already discussed what is the meaning of constructor overloading. Okay, constructor overloading. Another concept is the method overloading. So these concepts are discussed under object oriented programming in Java. Okay, here I do not focus on those concepts, because our purpose of this course is to teach you how to develop software fast. Okay, that's the meaning of rapid application development. To set a value for our number of presence variable, we just do normal variable assignment here. Now in this constructor, we can assign a value to the variable. Okay, so that means once you create an object using this constructor, this variable will contain the value of 0. Okay, now when the object is created, C# will fill our number of presence variable with the default value we have chosen. Let's put the number of presence variable to some use. add the following property to your class. Okay, so public int, now this is a property. We here in this website they have given this name, but I recommend let's use this name, but I recommend using the name as like this, number of presents. Okay, because the variable name we make the starting letter of the variable name capital and use it as the property name. Okay, but any name you can use for the property name, but this is the convention. Okay, so but let's follow what is mentioned in the website. Okay, now the property is write only, that means we have only set part, we do not use the get part for this property. Therefore we call this a write only property, meaning we are only setting a value, not getting one out, but it will set a value for number of presents variable. Your get message method can be amended slightly to change it to this. Okay, likewise get message method. Okay, now let's try to do what's mentioned here. Now let's try to modify our happy birthday class. There we have to include number of presents. Okay, that is a field, so we have asked to include it. Okay, then we include a constructor. Now let's see, public, let's use the access modifier as public. Then after that the name of the constructor should be exactly same as the class name. And now here here what we do is to this at field we set the value number sorry, here I have missed parenthesis. Now it's okay. Number of presents. Understood? Now they in the website we are asked to following property to your class. Okay, we are going to add the property. Now get message property was there. Another property, let's include another property, public property, int present count. Only set part we are going to include here. Okay, therefore only the set part we are going to include here. Therefore we call this a write only property. only set part we have included. The purpose is to set a value to number of presents field. Okay, the property is write only, meaning we are only setting a value, not getting one out, but it will set a value for the number of presents variable. Your get message method can be amended slightly to change it to this. Now our get message method, rather than returning this is string, now let's amend this. The message, we declare a string variable, then to the message variable happy birthday given name. Here we include a new line, same as in Java and C, \n, new line character. So happy birthday, then given name, the message, again we concatenate number of presents to string. Okay, now here you can see number of presents I have converted it to a string. To string method will convert an integer to its corresponding a string. That means something like this. If this is our integer, then its string means something like this one. Okay, so to string method will convert the integer to the string. Now here we then return the message. Now it's like this. Okay, now get message method we modified. We declare a string variable, then to that we added happy birthday and the passed value here. Then in the new line we again concatenate to the same string number of presents to a string. Okay, all we are doing is setting up a string variable called the message. We are then building up the string with the given name and number of presents, not the use of the C# new line character. Okay, I hope you are familiar with this one. In your button code, you can now set a value for your new property. Okay, the coding window for your button should then look like this. Now let's go to our button code. There button 2, there what we do is as in early situation we created an object. From using this constructor. Now we if you look at happybirthday.ces class, here we have included our own constructor. The user has included the constructor, therefore the compiler will not create the default constructor. Okay, default constructor means if user has not included the constructor, if user has not included a constructor to the class, then compiler will automatically create a constructor. That constructor is called the default constructor, and the purpose of default constructor is to assign default values to the fields of the class. Okay, now in this situation, now we included the constructor to our class, therefore compiler will not create the default constructor. Okay, so now what happens here is, now here we have this constructor. In this line what happens is, this constructor is invoked. This constructor is invoked and number of presence field will be assigned 0 in the object we create. Okay, and the memory location of the object is stored in birthday message variable. Okay, now the other thing is, this object is created inside the heap memory, and birthday message variable will be created on the stack memory. Okay, so that is the another thing. So then after that we declare a string variable to then birthday message, yes, here here actually we use the property, birthday message. Yes, we use this property property to set a value to the variable birthday message. Okay, to this variable we have set a value. After that, to the return message we then access birthday message object dot birthday message. This is how we have used the property to get that value. Okay, we set a value to that field using birthday message property. Okay, then we get the value from it. Okay, that's what you have done here. Then after that, to the return message we display return message. Okay, now here the modification is, before this line, birthday message dot present count. Okay, in this object we access the present count property, and here the IntelliSense shows some information. Then from that we can understand it contains only the set part. Now we set a value. Okay, so in this situation what happens is, so we have this property, there we assign a value to number of presents field. Okay, okay, now let's continue. The new property use has been highlighted. We are passing value of 5 over to the present count property we set up. Here is what your happy birthday class look like. We added few comments. Okay, now if you look at this, private string birthday message. Okay, this one actually we could have put it here, no problem, but usually as far as possible, it's better you put the attributes, put the fields at the beginning of the class. Okay, it's recommended. Previous way also okay, but usually when you model classes, it's better at the beginning you include the set of fields, then the constructors, then the methods. That order, keeping that order is that is the convention, okay, not a rule. So I have put this birthday message string, the field to here. Okay, now class variables, actually these are the variables, or actually we call in C# they are fields. In Java, if you watch my videos you can see in Java we call them attributes. Then this is not the default constructor. Okay, so there is a small mistake in this website. Default constructor means if the user does not include a constructor to a class, then compiler will generate a constructor. That is invisible in the class, that is invisible, but still you can invoke. So the purpose of that default constructor is to create an object with assigning default values to the fields. Okay, default values to the fields. Then you can then method, this is the get message method. Okay, so we have discussed this. After that, read write property, both here we have, yes, both read write we have here in this property. Then write only property we have included. Okay, so the location does not matter whether you include it or there, but since we follow the website, let me take it to here. Okay, order is not a problem. Order is not a problem. Okay, run your program and click your button. The message that displays should look like this. Now let's run and see. Happy birthday Shahid, number of presents 5. Run your program and click your button. The message that displays should look like this. Now can you understand how we have got this message? Okay, now again I will go through happy birthday class. Okay, happy birthday .cs cs extension in Java we use .java, in C# we use .cs. Okay, and the name of the file same as the class name. Then we have two fields here, int string, and private means access modifier. That means these two fields can only be accessed within the class itself. Okay, then this is our constructor. We have made the constructor public, therefore even from the outside of the class this constructor is accessible. Okay, so there what we do is number of presents field we set to 0. That means if you use this constructor to create an object, in that object the number of presents field will take the value of 0. Okay, that is the meaning. Then actually this is not the default constructor. Okay, this is not the default constructor. I have already explained. Default constructor means if the user has not included a constructor to the class, then only the compiler will create a constructor. That constructor is called the default constructor. Okay, that constructor is called the default constructor. And now we have included the constructor to our class, therefore compiler is not going to create the default constructor. Okay, then this is a method. Method is private string, that is the return type. Then we have a parameter string the message. We declare a string variable. To this we happy birthday plus given name. That is how we got happy birthday Shahid. And then new line, after that we concatenate number of presents, and from here the value of the number of present field we get and we convert it to a string, because the message is a string. This is an integer, therefore we have to convert it to the corresponding string, and here we return the message value of the message variable. Then this is actually, what is this? This is a property. We can identify it, since we do not have parenthesis here. We can distinguish it from a method. Okay, now we have both get and set parts. Here the purpose is to return the value of the attribute birthday message, and also setting a value, okay, to our then here what we have done is to get message method, we pass the setting value we pass it, then it will come to here. Then after that it will return this value. That value is assigned to the birthday message variable. Okay, then this is also a property. Since we do not have parenthesis, you can identify only set part is there, therefore this is a write only property. The purpose of that property is to set a value to the field number of presents. Okay, now here we have different members. These two members are, this one and this one are fields. This is a constructor. Okay, it looks like a method, but we can distinguish, because the name is exactly same as the class name. That is one thing. And this does not have a return type, and it's not going to return anything. Then this is a method. No, now you have the signature of the method properly here. And this is a property. Since you do not have parenthesis, you can distinguish. This is also a property. As usual, we do not find parenthesis here. Okay, now let's try this exercise. Set up a new property to record set up a new property to record whether a person is having a birthday party or not. Add a default value of false to your constructor. Adapt your message accordingly. When you use your new property from the button code, pass over value of true. If you successfully complete this exercise, your message box may look something like this if they are having a party. Okay, this is what you should do. Now you can pause the video. Okay, you can pause the video and try this exercise. Okay, after that you can continue watching the video. And this is how, if they are going to have a party, it's like this. If they are not going to have a party, it should be the message should be like this. To get different messages, you will have to add an if statement to your method. This is a tricky exercise, so give yourself pat on the back if you complete it. Okay, now let's go to here. This one. Now what you should do, we include another field, private bool birthday party. Okay, that is the field. Then after that, here in the constructor birthday party, we set false. That means once you create the object, initially the birthday party field will get the value of false. Okay, then here now here we use conditional logic. If birthday party attribute field is true, then what should we do? The message, to the message we concatenate hope you enjoy the party. Okay, that part we include. If birthday party field is true, otherwise the message no party. This one we include. Okay, this is how we have used conditional logic. Then another property, we can have public bool has party, only write only property. Okay, write only property. This one we have only the set part, that's why I call it a write only property. Birthday party value. Okay, now once you have modified this, now you go to this one. Let's run and see. Okay, because initially our Okay, then the other thing is here, when to this one, it's better. So let's see the output. Number of presents. After the number of presents, we need a new line character. Therefore, number of presents here plus. Let's include \n. Okay. Then let's run and see. The reason is now here by default, no, not by default, in this constructor I have included false to birthday party attribute. Therefore when here when I create the object in this object, we have false for the party attribute. Party attribute means this one, birthday party attribute, we have false value. Then after that, when present count we set 5, birthday message this value. Okay, then we return the message, and when we display, we will have it as no party. Then if you have a party, then what you should do, birthday message, then has party attribute, we can set it true. No party, still no party. The reason is okay, so you have to here, not here, you have to include it. Okay, not here, before using it. Okay, just after creating the object, then we set the value. Now this one we have set it to true. Okay, because inside the get message method you are using birthday party field. Okay, and it is used here, birthday message, in this property birthday message. Therefore before this line, actually before this line we have to do this. Okay, hope you enjoy the party. Then it is like this. That is the exercise. Okay, then okay, in the next lesson we will take a look at inheritance. Anyway, that is the end of this video, and in the next video let's discuss inheritance in C#.NET. Okay, thank you for watching.